All right, she said 15 minutes went too fast. Went by too fast. So she'd stomped off her boots, but she just keeps going. Now there's an open staircase, and she knows where this open staircase leads because her house is like this as well. She keeps calling. Nothing. So she stops calling. She must have known then, or she would have called. It would be the normal thing to do. If you keep walking upstairs to somebody's house, you're going to keep saying, hey, are you home? I'm coming. You don't want to freak somebody out, right? Especially they have like a gun or whatever. So, but she doesn't. So it means at this point, she knows something's wrong. She knows there's death. She gets to the top of the steps, keeps going. Maybe they're drunk, but nobody really knows anything about the Weebles. You don't know anything about them. Let's kind of get this backstory there. She didn't call. She didn't halt again. She climbed the stairs, didn't look around. She turned to the top of the stairs was Weeble's bedroom. She'd never been upstairs in his house before. She knew where it would be. The door of their room was open, and we cut away. Because that's going to be this mystery. It's the MacGuffin that we're going to get to. Peg comes downstairs. She heads straight to town hall. And the constable says, bitter cold? Yes, it is. So what can I do for you? So then she tells him. Robert gets more of the story from Karen. Karen's a clerk who works with Peg at the Gilmore Arcade. She figures she's friends with Peg, but then she tells Robert later, I always believed Peg and me to be friends, but now I'm not so sure. Now this begins this really interesting sort of deconstruction of small town manners, maybe large town manners, and like what is proper in terms of talking about and what is not. And I don't know what's strange. Anyway, Karen worked at 10. She arrived before that. Peg said nobody's been here. Peg had made coffee. Isn't this marvelous? Yes. Peg said she was wiping up some marks on the floor. Those marks are blood. Blood that's on her boots because of how close she got to the scene of the murder-suicide, the gore. We don't know that yet, but maybe we can assume. And she's like, I thought maybe she tracked in mud, but there's no mud because there's snow covering up the mud. After a while, a customer came in. It's Celia Sims, and she'd heard. And Karen's like, Peg, something terrible's happened. It's your next door neighbors. Peg calls back, I know. Celia lifted her eyebrows. This is strange. Both Weebles are shot dead, Peg. Did you know that? Peg said, yes, I found them. You did? When did you? This morning, just before I came into work. They were murdered. It was murder-suicide, Peg said. He shot her and then shot himself. That's what happened. When she told me that, Karen said, I started to shake. Shook all over and I couldn't stop shaking. Telling Robert this, she shook again to demonstrate. So I said, what'd you do when you found them? She said, I went to the police. I said, did you scream or what? Do you think she's in shock? No, I think she's all right. This conversation was taking place at the back of the store. Peg had gone out to get a sandwich. She not said one word to me. How come she never said a word about this? I said to Peg. She said, I need to find out pretty soon. Okay. This is where I usually look at you guys and ask the question. Did Peg do anything wrong in terms of coming to work? I don't know if she's necessarily, I don't know if you could say acting like nothing had happened. I think it's just how Peg is. But I don't mean wrong like you're going to say yes or no. I'm just saying like, if you were in Karen's shoes, would you feel betrayed if Peg had come to work and not told you that? That's going to be like, I really want that question. I'd like everybody to throw some stuff out there because I can see it both ways. First of all, it would seem weird. Now, why it seems weird is less determined by, you know, maybe what the right thing to do is versus what the sort of the assumed thing you would do in that particular society. Maybe, you know, sort of the difference between morals and ethics, if you want to call it that. Like you think again, not to attach any sort of morality to it, but maybe you can see my point there. Also, it should be said, she's done nothing wrong in terms of like the law. She's done everything she should do. As soon as she found out, she went straight to the police. And you could even say it's probably best to keep it quiet until it comes out, until the police have had a chance to do what they're supposed to do. But that seems like off the chart abnormal to us. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it doesn't, because I can see it from Peg's point of view too. What good does it do? What change does it make? Also, you also ask the question: why does Karen feel so betrayed? I mean, is it the fact that she's close to her as a friend and she expects it, or is it just we feel like we're owed gossip when somebody else knows it? We need to hear it from them because it sucks to be the last one who gets told. It's better to be the one who tells. There's something maybe about that in us, and Peg doesn't adhere to any of those sort of things. I'm just really curious what your thoughts are on this, and I'd really like some, even if you just put some stuff out there, if you could like maybe even see it from the other point of view and give some back and forth on the forums. I think that'd really be interesting. I mean, I think with social media, it's even worse now. This sort of a desire to sort of be the first to, first, about everything. You even see it to the point where recently there was I'm from a small town in Missouri. I don't go back to. I'm not allowed. Oh, I'm allowed. They love me there. All those losers. No. But yeah, there was a bad situation where there was a family got hit like on a highway. They were crossing with groceries, and it was bad. And like a local guy who considers himself part of the news, a journalist, and basically all he does is like link stories to Facebook from like everywhere else. Like he went and got video, and it wasn't graphic, but it was borderline. And then he my Roomba is his battery's dead, and he posted that and got a lot of slack for it. And I think I even gave him some slack in a funny way, because that's how I do things. I'd rather make people laugh. But I don't know, like, maybe it's because he thought he was like, it's the journalist's job. It felt it felt trashy. It felt trashy in that way, like, I gotta be first. So like, in some ways what Peg does is very, very strange. In other ways, it's sort of, there's some sense of honor to it, some sort of dignity. It doesn't bring them back, but it also doesn't sort of put their business out there before it needs to be put out there. Now, that's not to say Peg doesn't have some other stuff going on, because we know that she's not truthful in terms of like some certain things. But we'll talk about that as we move along. But I want you to talk about that on your Moodle. So Robert had finished the Keneally store about noon, and then let's see. And then he starts to talk we cut back to him talking to people like, why didn't you get in touch with me? We're up on the roof. Could have called the store, told Ellie, she would have told me. What good would that have done? Everything Peg says right. Like, it's not going to bring them back any quicker. Maybe like there's just this certain zen to Peg that she's like sort of be honest. Now, how she reaches this zen may be dark, maybe the heart of the story. But anyway, so I love that too. Like, Peg is like so oblivious, like she's walked into this gory situation. Hey, what are you doing, buddy?
I'm getting posy.
Oh, it's okay. I didn't even know you guys were back there. It's okay. Get posy. Get out of here. Come on. You want to be in the video, baby? Come on. Go. You can say hi. Say hi.
Hello.
All right.
What's this video called? Hi.
Hi. All right. Go. Go. I need to finish. All right. Go. You too, Penny. All right. Don't pop up in the background. Anyway, where was I? Yeah. So she gets like a sandwich. Like, she's totally unfazed. Now she's not even gonna skip lunch. Gets him a sandwich. He looks at her coat, and you see this paint. He sees paint on her coat hanging up there, but it's not paint. It's blood. She got really close. Must have brushed up against the doorway that was covered with blood. It starts to raise some questions to him too. And again, this is the story. This is Robert's story. It's going to be what he sort of discovers about his wife that troubles him. Some mysteries. Anyway, then he remembers the talk at the diner, talking about a shotgun. Then we get to the gossip section. This sort of opens the story up to the town. And I'd love for you guys to talk about this too in your on the Moodle page. Just the way the news travels. Even somebody says, "My sister beat you to it." The way that it gets around. I'm the first one who got to tell the story, and then how they all backtrack who'd seen who where, who's seen whom where, and what they were doing when they bought groceries. Did they buy enough for a long time? Was it planned? Like, people want to know. They want to be able to explain it, because then they can explain it to themselves, and then they don't have to feel scared themselves, which is pointless. They can distance themselves from it, and this doesn't allow them that idea. It's all ho hum. And then there's some thoughts on what it was. There's even sort of a division between hey, if she's gonna bark, you do have to get her out of here, okay? Between men and women. Men thought it was about money. Women thought it was about illness. And then at some point, somebody even in parentheses says, "Oh, they weren't Gilmore people." Like, that explains it. Like Steve Gawley. Well, he didn't have a mom, so that's why he drowned. But then whoever said it remembers, oh wait, like Robert isn't even from Gilmore, really. Peg keeps busy. And basically, like, we never knew them at all. Robert pictured them getting in and out of their car in the driveway. He remembers that Boxing Day visit. They weren't churchgoers. They don't know. Robert was right about the reasons. And we get this long section that's a whole thing in parentheses. It's basically Munro just looking ahead, telling us that nobody finds out anything, ever. We never find out the mystery why. There's never a reason why. And it's just something that happened. And it actually probably gets explained in the story itself. And so we jump ahead in that way. There's this funeral, sort of just, basic funeral, very general, and we go from there. Then we get back to the day this happened. Another person who thought Peg should let him know is Kevin, because Kevin is right across the street. Now, again, that may be like, if it was my mom, I'd be probably upset too, and I wouldn't worry about, like, well, I don't care if you're insular and you're private, whatever. At least tell me I'm right across the street. Although, I mean, it's not like they're going to get up and do anything. He had to hear about it, I guess, from his girlfriend, who'd called, and they took the bodies out in garbage bags. Now, this is when we start digging in deep to just what has happened with Peg and how she's maybe gotten to be the way she is. And again, it raises more questions than it answers, certainly for Robert. But I got to point out, and Munro's doing this, and there's sort of a darkness here too. This is almost a dark comedy. Like, of all the things, if you've seen something like this, I mean, it has to be jarring. Of all the things you're going to fix that night, I think spaghetti with red sauce is going to be low on the list. Just in terms of the carnage that you'd seen. I'd probably opt for white toast. Maybe scrambled eggs on that toast. That's it. No hot sauce, nothing. Again, to each his own. This is something that this maybe goes beyond the whole social thing. Like, I'm going to keep it private. I'm a private person. This is like outwardly, this really didn't bother her at all. To the point where it's not like she had dinner made already. It was like, oh, I had this thawed, so it's ready. Might as well put it to use, even though I saw something horrible. It's frozen. She actually got it from the freezer, so she, like, it's not like it was already planned. So, spaghetti sauce does sound good. That's, I mean, just very strange to me. So, keep talking. And the brothers, there's some bickering between the brothers about, like, how they talk about it. You can get into maybe talk of things they carried there with the way the soldiers talked about death, maybe versus the way a civilian does. And then they sort of break it up, ask their mom, did you scream? That sort of thing. Robert asks her later as they're doing dishes, you really want to talk about it? He wants her to talk about it to him. He's fine with her not talking about it. He understands how she is, but he's a little bit troubled for a very specific reason. But he's a little bit troubled just that she won't talk more about it to him. And he's wondering what that says. So, at some point, one of the sons says, I guess they had a fight. And Peg says, we don't know that. We don't know if they had a fight or what. It could have been not. It didn't have to necessarily be a fight. And then we dig into Peg's past. Remember when you and Dad used to have those fights? Clayton said, remember after we moved to town, we would be home over the car wash, when you used to have the fights. You know what I used to think? I used to think one of you was going to come in and kill me with a knife. Must have been bad fights. Of course, it's also a child's point of view, so you never know how. But at the same time, it lets us know that there was more to this marriage than simply this guy just decided to drive trucks farther and farther away. It's not true. It is true. Peg, sit down. That's what I used to lie in bed and think. Clayton, never one of us would have hurt you. What it's like, and then Robert tries to explain it. What it's like is, it's like an earthquake volcano. It's that kind of happening. It's like a fit. People can take a fit like that, like an earthquake fit. It only happens once in a long while. It's a freak out occurrence. I think Clayton, smart ass that he is, says Earths and volcanoes aren't freaks. It's periodic, such as people have, like married people. We don't. He wants Peg to agree with him, but Peg looks at Clayton. She seems pale and silky and assenting, but hard to follow as a watermark in fine paper. No, Clayton, not you. Robert then goes out for a walk. He gets outside. He sees that Clayton's right. All these gross people looking at the house, like the house is going to tell them some sort of answer. They drive their car by this place where this horrible thing happened. I'm going to stop this. This will be the last one.